Alright, hello, and welcome back for one more NES video. Well, I already talked about most of the games on here that I've ever really played. Except for, well, there are a few that I vaguely mentioned. Like this one. Well, as soon as it starts up. Come on. Nice. Never really mentioned this one much because I've already done a playthrough of it. Couple, 2 or 3 years ago. One of the first games I did a playthrough of for the channel. Being that it is my favorite of the early Castlevania games. Okay, why ain't it working? Oh, there it goes. Yeah, there's really not much more to say about it that I already have. I did that playthrough. Overly despised game in my opinion. But I think a lot of that comes from AVGN fans and how he rips on the game. People just see those videos and don't bother playing the game for themselves. Most of it, not all of it. I mean, there are a lot of people who played the game before he ever started out that don't like it, but most of the people I hear hate on the game, do so after that. Or, yeah, well, yeah. So, of course, funny thing about that is off character in those other videos he used to do with like Mike, Matei, and whoever else. He admitted that he likes the game, but that it does have flaws. Opinions that I can totally agree with. It is a good game, but could have used a little more work in some areas. But personally, to me, it's still the best of the early Castlevania games simply because it's a forerunner, beta version of Metroidvania games. Aria of Sorrow, Harmony of Dissonance, my all-time favorite, Portrait of Ruin. Kind of like a prototype for those games. Not the linear platformer that other early Castlevania games would be. And okay, there's also this game. I did mention this game as a passing thought in my talking about Dr. Chaos NES game because of the room design reminding me a lot of this game. But yeah, didn't say much more about it because I've already, like Castlevania 2, I've already done a playthrough of this game for the channel. It was one of those games I did in one whole 3 hour long or whatever, however long it was, one whole video instead of the multi-video series like I usually do. If I still had the time to do so, I'd bring back that series and do more of these NES games in one setting video kind of thing like I used to do for a while there. Problem is when I used to do those videos, I had a lot more free time to work with. Not so much the case anymore now, but anyways, I do like this game, always have, always will, and has a pretty good 8-bit rendition of the Cyndi Lauper theme song, which at the time I used to hate, but between endless replays of the movie itself and several replays of this game, I actually grew an interest in the song. So much so that I actually bought some various artists' movie soundtrack CD compilation that had this song on it, and, along with other 80s movies theme songs like Footloose and Ghostbusters and Power of Love from Back to the Future. Anyways, haven't talked much about this game through the whole NES anniversary special because I've already played through it and there's really not much more to say about it than I already have during that playthrough. So, yeah. Another game in that category. This one. Although I have talked about this game a little more because it is one of my favorites in the NES library, so to speak. Yeah. Of course, when most people think of the first Metroid game, they probably think of the Zero Mission remake more, and to be fair, Zero Mission is okay. I mean, I jokingly call it Zero Intellect a lot because of how dumbed down it is with the hand-holding and tutorials and linearity, but overall, it is still a good remake. Like I said, I think when I played through this whole game in one multi-hour video, I would really have to nitpick. I mean, seriously nitpick to decide which version of the game I like more, the original here or the Zero Mission remake. All jokes about Zero Intellect aside, if I'm being totally serious and totally honest, yeah, it's really, really close which one to me, in my opinion, is better. Yeah. The original ain't as linear, which for me, especially back then, was a good thing as I was tired of linear games already anyway. This joined the first Zelda game, the more open category. Games that you could play through in different orders every time, wasn't the same level, same order, like most platformers were. Anyways, I went through all that when I played through the game a couple 3 years ago now. So, again, like Castlevania 2 or Goonies 2, there's really not much more I can say about the game that I haven't already said during that playthrough. Only thing, I'd have to watch that video. I can't remember if I actually 100%ed it getting all 255 missiles or not. I think I did. Got all of them, I think, but maybe that one with that tricky jump in Norfair, or, well, more or less Ridley's lair, or Hideout 1, or Hideout 2 rather, as it's called in this version of the game. Can't remember if I got that or if I missed that jump and gave up on it. Again, I'd have to go back and actually watch that video, but anyways. Someday I might do a playthrough of the Zero Mission remake, but I don't know. With so many other games I want to play, I kind of have a problem about replaying games I already have. Even if it's a remade version of, it's still, at its core, it's still the same game that I've already done a playthrough of, so, yeah. Someday, maybe, emphasis on that 5-letter word, maybe, do a playthrough of Zero Mission, but for now, anyways, on to the next game. Right. And this one, well, I talk about this game all the damn time. Love the game in general, just not this NES original. If I'm going to play the first Final Fantasy game here, it's going to be either the Game Boy Advance remake or the newer Pixel remaster. Probably the more newer Pixel remaster since I have that on my Switch. Yeah. But this NES original? No. In fact, just thinking about it, hearing this, seeing this screen makes me wonder how I put up with it, how I put up with its flaws and glitches and inconsistencies for 15 years, replaying it many times over during that time from 1990 to 2005. Granted, one way I handled that was after it got to a point where I never used the Black Mage job class. Either had 2 Red Mages or 2 Fighters. Screw Black Mage. Since in this version of the game, magic spell charges and no elixirs or ether potions to bring them back in dungeons, unlike the more recent remakes. So once the magic was gone, Black Mage was basically useless. So yeah, to accommodate for that, I usually would have 2 Red Mages, who also had the same magic problems, but at least they could double as formidable melee physical fighters too, unlike Black Mage. So yeah. Anyways, good game, but good God, this original version definitely needed a remake, and luckily it got had far more than one over the decades. But yeah. Anyone else just getting into the series? You want to play the first game? Well, I cannot recommend this original version unless you truly nostalgic. Well, you wouldn't be nostalgic if you're just getting into the series, but unless you're truly ready to suffer and be annoyed by a severely glitched and flawed game, I would not recommend this original, the Pixel Remaster. Yes. At least with that, you can play the original music if that's your thing, and that was one of the good things about the Pixel Remaster for me, because if you remember, when I played the Game Boy Advance version for the channel, granted that was a 2 3-hour long video playthrough, but yeah, I commented about how the music was pretty much the only thing I miss about the original version of the game. Well, since that playthrough, they put out the Pixel Remaster on Switch, which in the settings options has the option to bring back the original soundtrack. Cool. Yeah. For that nostalgia bit. Anyways, doesn't matter, I'm not actually going to play this flawed, glitchy mess. Yeah. I forget exactly what setting it is within the settings and the options menu, but somewhere, at least in the Switch version of it, I don't know about other formats, other consoles, but the Switch version, somewhere in those multitude of settings, remastered score or original, which for me was great. And I was kind of hoping Dragon Quest III 2D HD would have had that option too, but no. Unfortunately, I don't know about 1 and 2, even though it released yesterday. By the way, for anyone who cares, happy Halloween. But anyways, yeah. I won't be able to get that game till next week. Silly me, I knew I should have pre-ordered it when I had all that extra money, but no. Anyways. Anyways, I like this game, just not this version of it. And again, like every other game in this video so far, since I already played through it, well, I played through the Game Boy Advance remake of it, but still, since I already played through the game, there's not much more I can say about it than I already have during that playthrough, so. And that's one of the reasons I never really talked much about it during this series either, since I pretty much said everything I have to say about it back then. Anyways, next game. Well, as soon as it starts, there we go. My first RPG. Well, debatable claim there. Again, that all depends on if you count Castlevania 2 and Zelda 2 as RPGs. If you do, then this would be the third one behind those two, but yeah. summer 1989 when it was released here in North America. Again, I already played through this game. Played through all 4 of the NES Dragon Warrior games. Of course, by the time I got to Chapter 5 of Dragon Warrior 4, I kind of regretted playing the original and not playing the more recent Nintendo DS remake of it, but again, since I already played through all 4 of these Dragon Warrior NES games, not much more to say about them than I already have during those playthroughs, which is why I haven't really talked about them much this month during this 40th anniversary special series. Not because I don't like the games, just I've already played through them. Besides that, with these games, I talk about them a lot during other videos anyways. Since Dragon Warrior Dragon Quest is my second favorite video game series behind The Legend of Zelda, I don't need some special video series to talk about these games. Anyways, speaking of next game, this one, my all-time favorite NES game. Frick, for that matter, one of my 10 favorite video games of all time, period. And like I've said many times over the years of this channel, if I were to rate my games by how many times I've played them, this would be the no doubt about it #1. Whether actual NES hardware, PC emulation, 3DS Virtual Console, or Switch NES Online, one way or the other, the game that I have definitely replayed more than any other game in all of gaming history. By far, nothing else even holding a candle to it, so to speak. Yeah. Wait. Is this controller busted? Oh, great. I think this cable is getting... oh, great. That's all I need. My controller is shorting out on me. Oh, perfect. I can't even get the new Dragon Quest game that just came out yesterday. Well, yesterday now being October 31st. But yeah. I can't even get the new Dragon Quest game yet that just came out. Now I might need to get a new controller for my computer. Oh, great. Nice. Anyways, my gaming financial issues aside, again, didn't do a play. I mean, I was going to start the whole series off with this, like I said, what was it, on the 15th when I started this? Initially, when I first started to think of this idea, was going to be a video a day all October long, you know, like how so many people are doing scary games this month. You know, I was going to do NES games every day this month. But then, you know, I kept putting it off and never got around to it until it was too late. I even recorded a second playthrough of this entire game for that. Yeah. But again, stupid me kept putting it off and oh, there's plenty of time. It's only early September. I still got almost a whole month yet. Yeah. Slap myself. Anyways, of course, one of the reasons I kept putting it off is the very thing I've already talked about. I've already done this game, and I really, with all the other games I want to do playthroughs of for the channel, I really don't have time to go back and replay games I already have. You know, for channel purposes, that is. I mean, for Zelda games, I mean, I still haven't done Majora's Mask yet. You Yeah. Ow. So, anyways. And last but not least, as the old saying goes, the sequel to the infamous Zelda 2, the game from hell, as one YouTube, I forget who it was on YouTube that once put it that way, but I think Zeltech, who does Zelda fan theory videos on YouTube. Yeah. But like Castlevania 2, even though a lot of people seem to hate this game, I've always liked it since December of '88 when it released in America. I mean, it's definitely, well, the hardest Zelda game, save maybe the newer games, Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, with some of the enemies there. If you go through it too early, try to fight some of those enemies too early, but anyways, but for those of us who played NES games back in the 80s, this game wasn't any harder than Ninja Gaiden or Contra or Ghosts and Goblins or first Castlevania game. Just after this game, the Zelda series, Zelda games started getting a little easier for better or worse. So much so that modern Zelda fans, yeah. I mean, Zelda games are all good. Well, most of them, except for Twilight Princess. Most Zelda games are good, don't get me wrong, but they are usually a tad too easy for those who like their challenging games. Yeah. Whether a direct result of the slams against this game or whatever, Zelda games over the decades have become a tad too easy in challenge departments. But then you go back and play this game that kicks your butt if you're not used to that difficulty. And then to be fair, I mean, even if you are, I mean, I've played this game many times over the decades, and I still cannot do any kind of like zero death or anything like that. I still die a lot in this game, even though I've played it many times over since it first came out, and I mean, I'm not even going to pretend to be like some kind of seasoned veteran or any crap like that. I mean, come on. I mean, just watch my playthrough of it. I did when I did that playthrough. I mean, I died several times there. So yeah. Things like that jump attack against the iron knuckles that some people can do so easily. I can never seem to get the timing for that down. Anyways. Of course, again, since I've already done a playthrough of this game for the channel, there's really not much more I can say about it than what I already did back then. And other than to restate what I've already mentioned many times before. As for the difficulty of this game, sure, it's still going to be difficult regardless, but a lot of that difficulty can be taken away by leveling up. I mean, I know leveling up experience levels isn't something you come to expect in the Zelda game. Is it something they would never do again to this day? RPG experience levels. Yeah. But they did for this one game, and because of that, yeah, if you try to go through it under-leveled like most RPGs, if you try to go through it under-leveled, you're going to have issues. Not because of the game, but because of the way you're playing it. Don't blame the game, blame the person holding the controller. Wink, wink. Yeah. I mean, again, to be fair, even at max levels, 8 health, 8 attack, 8 magic, the last half of the game is still going to be difficult regardless, but it'll be a lot less difficult than it would have been at lower levels in those same areas. Wink, wink. And again, yes, I know, to be fair, leveling up experience levels isn't something you'd expect to have to do in a Zelda game. I get that, but I don't know. Probably because of the negative output towards this game, they never tried that again with another Zelda game, but anyways, yeah. Of course, the initial plans for this whole series was do another playthrough of this game. I even started recording started recording those videos. Yeah. In fact, this here is a continuation from that. Set to go to level 1 and yeah. Then again, like I said earlier, I kept putting it off until by the time I really started to get to it, I looked at the calendar. And, oh shoot, it's already October 2nd. Damn it! Well, so much for the idea of a video every day this month. We're already 2 days into the month. Dang it! Yeah, stupid me. Anyways. And with that, I think that about wraps it up between all of the other videos I've done in this series. And all the talking about NES games. I think that about covers it. 40 years of NES history. Again, I'm leaving out a lot of games, I'm sure. As much as I love the NES as a console and always have, it's not like I've played every NES game to this day. So, if I'm leaving out a game that you like, well, you could always mention it in the comments below this video, but probably because I've never played it. I mean, again, I don't think, well, I'm sure there's probably some people who've played every NES game, but I'm not one of them. Anyways, again, that about wraps it up for the NES Anniversary Special Series. And again, as of right now, it's just a thought. And either way, it's still 10 months, approximately 10 months away yet, but have been thinking about come August of next year doing a 35th anniversary series like I just did for the NES, but this time around for the Super Nintendo's second console. I mean, I have the ideal game in mind, like how I did Kid Icarus as the game, and then did a bunch of other videos about the system and the other games I like on it. Well, for Super Nintendo, I already have an idea of what game to play for that, but one that I want to do anyways, whether I do it as a part of that kind of an anniversary for the Super Nintendo or do it as its own standalone series. It is a game I'm going to do a playthrough of eventually. Anyways, again, I'm not going to, as of this point, I'm not going to make any solid plans on that. I don't like to plan that far ahead. Who's just, I don't want to think about it, but frick, who's to say I'll even still be alive? Come on, I don't plan on dying anytime soon, but life can be funny that way. Step outside and get struck by lightning or something. I mean, I know that's very unlikely, but I mean, seriously though, I just don't like to plan that far ahead on anything. So, in fact, I shouldn't even be talking about it yet, because get people thinking about it, looking forward to it. And then if it doesn't happen, those people will be upset. So, anyways. That's about it for this. Again, happy 40th birthday, NES. And as for everybody else, thanks for watching, putting up with my goofy commentary and my bungling like with the Dragon Quest 7 series uploads yesterday. 52, 55, and 59, and having to do a separate short video to explain that blunder. Oh, good God. Thanks for those who watch these videos and put up with crap like that, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Dang, I wish I had those birthday, woohoo! Anyways, see ya.